Okay, thank you to anyone who cared to show up tonight. I will shortly be sending uh, an invite link so Candy can join the stream and we can begin the interview. Um, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you for joining me tonight.
Can you hear me?
Okay, um, I had a few questions here that I wanted to begin with. Can you start by telling us a bit about your early experiences with IDMR?
Um, my early experiences with the cult is that well, hold up. I'm coming. My early experiences is that well, we came into the foster mom's care at about 5 or 6 months old. Me and my twin sister and a couple of other brothers. And and far as I know, the earliest I remember being in a cult, I was like at least 3 or 4 years old. The foster mom, I guess she had us going to the cult, but we were babies and too young to remember. But the foster mom, she got us when we were about well, the foster mom said 5 months old, but the records say 6 months.
And what would you say originally drew them into, what drew your family originally into the IDMR as well? Was it just set of beliefs, or were they mind controlled, or is it multi-generational, or things like this?
Well, with the biological family, they weren't really part of the cult, but the only biological family members that were forced into the cult was a few of us of the kids that were taken away and put in foster care. And the foster mom was basically excuse me, from her family, she was the only cult member in her family, but even her own biological kids were not members of the fake IDMR cult.
Um, so what would you say some of the core beliefs or practices in IDMR that stood out to you as a child, such as certain names that they used for Jesus Christ? Is it correct that they used the names Yahuwah or Yeshua or some variant of that in place of Jesus Christ?
Yeah, they use sorry, if they're making my face itch. I'm sorry with the weapons. Excuse me, and I have mucus problems, so excuse me for coughing. But they
You have nothing to
use
apologize for. Sorry about that. And I know,
okay.
as targets, we go through a lot of these strange health issues and such. No issues whatsoever.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. So they use names, it's called the sacred, they were part of like the sacred name movement. And each, I noticed, I've done some research about the sacred name cults, and they each pronounce the names differently, anything other than Jesus Christ. But they will use names like, with the fake IDMR cult, they say Yahweh, Elohim, and Yahshua. And they had us like confused because they try to say Yahweh is the Lord, Elohim is God, and Yahshua is Jesus Christ. You know, so but in the other sacred name cults, I heard they pronounce it like Yahweh or Elohim, or they say Yeshua, you know, or they say Yahuwah or something, you know.
And this name has occultic roots, you would say?
Yeah, it's called the Hebrew Roots Move. I don't have expert knowledge in or whatever, but I've researched and read it has something to do with the Hebrew Roots movement. That's like a heresy that's crept up in even in the churches nowadays. And the fake IDMR cult has its roots in like a whole bunch of different things rolled in one. There are New Age satanic cult that's Luciferian, and they have their roots in Luciferianism and Freemasonry. And what they like to do is copy and steal from people, copy and steal ideas, and then try to pass it off as their own original, and then lie and say that people copied and stole from them. Excuse me, you know.
So it seems like things here circle a lot back to that Darvo, pretty much reverse victim and offender and projection on the target, because a lot of it, I've noticed they mock certain key phrases that you make throughout time, or they'll make a screenshot of something in time of the target, and then,
Yep.
and then basically copy it and morph it into some sort of a smear campaign or narrative management campaign. So certainly it's a shame to see anybody, here in 2026 selling out to these smear campaigns, which are not based in logical reality. They're just based in them ganging up with a bunch of accounts and spam posting counter intel to influence people that are maybe watching for the first time or things of this nature. So, this is how they operate. They, try to, for instance, trigger people's, if somebody has a health condition such as yourself, with the, you said they try to get people emotional, so they screenshot it and then they spin disinformation campaigns. So that's how this, it seems like with the IDMR. Would you say that, because I noticed a lot of these channels use these esoteric type of symbols, such as, they morph them into memes, but the memes are, just propaganda, but they actually hold subtle undertones, like where they are, it's pretty much, them trying to downplay the seriousness of certain, symbolic elements, I guess, that they use, and they do seem to use these like to, mark territory. And it's very creepy to see the red triangle, for instance. That's type of symbol that is associated now with a lot of threats.
Yeah. Yep. And they're in the chat right now. They try to flood the chat before 9 o'clock, like before the chat would even start. They try to flood with their slander, hoping that they could succeed at turning you against me. And I heard that that's one of the cult tactics, is to turn what they say, pit people against each other.
But none of these so-called people, they're not worth a damn, because ultimately they're just part of one giant network or web that interlocks with each other and spreads disinformation, counter intel spins. And I just wanted to ask, or pretty much make it known that these heresy spins, or they try to put out a lot of these intelligence narrative spins, and they do seem to invest a lot of time into this. And sometimes it feels like you're the bravest person in the whole pretty much in the whole world right now, standing up to them. And because most people have sold out at this point, and it means a lot. I just so and because of the way they threaten people, so with these symbols and all that, these but they always try to leave the door open to plausible deniability, and just anyhow, I wanted to just ask next, when did you first start questioning IDMR? And what ultimately led to you defecting from IDMR?
I think I kind of like, I think there were moments I probably was like, I think the earliest I remember, I think I was 11 years old when I started to try to resist and have moments where I didn't want to go to the Bible class. Like, I guess some of the times the foster mom would let us stay home if we didn't want to go. But after we get into a fight or something like that, then she would have a moment where she would start forcing us to go again for a period of time. Excuse me. And then afterwards, but I think I wasn't actually somewhere in high school, could have been between somewhere in high school. I, I noticed they were saying weird stuff like they had this fake emphasis on the Holy Spirit and whatever. And I remember I thought I saw a woman in the cult that said something like, she made an example and said, well, say if I became a man and I got you pregnant with the Holy Spirit. And I'm like, what the hell? You know, and I don't remember how old I was, but I was somewhere in high school when someone said that or whatever. But I went to college like 2 days before me and my twin sister's 18th birthday, and the R&B singer Aaliyah had passed away. She died in a plane crash. That was a covert murder on our 18th birthday. And the next day, my twin sister, when she called me up on the phone and told me that Aaliyah had died, she said Aaliyah had died last night. And then, and she was telling me about how Aaliyah died in the plane crash or whatever. And it was my twin sister herself that told me like that she confessed to me that she was sneaking and meeting up with the biological family before we even turned 18. And she told me that the biological mom, Frances Grand Prix, who's now deceased, she said that the biological mom, Frances, was the one who told us that we were in a cult. But I didn't know what a cult meant even then. But 2010, when my twin sister had lied to me, I'm interested. She lied to one of the cult leaders about me, that fake Robert Harris guy. She told him a bunch of lies about me, and he was rude and abusive to me on the phone. And that's when I got my final wake up, and I'm like, this has to be a cult. Then I started researching, and I had already had a little bit of knowledge of the Illuminati, New World Order, mind control, and all that. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, this ties into that too? So then I started to research more and more, and like my twin sister tried to force me to go to the cult in 2011, shortly after I moved to Los Angeles and I was homeless. And I went that one time, and they wouldn't even let me use the bathroom, and they tried to trap me and wouldn't let me leave. So 2011 was the last time I ever had any dealings with that cult. But I only went one time. But before then, last time I went to the cult was probably in 2007, and I was in New York. And they're like very abusive and controlling. They would mock, laugh, and bully. And even my twin sister didn't. When we were in the cult and kids, she frowned upon how the cult members acted, and her and the foster sister Joni, we would all talk amongst each other about how do the people in the cult that are like grown adults, and they laugh at and mock and make fun of you if you have a run in your stockings. If your stockings kind of split, a woman has stockings that kind of split. In the cult, they're always, gossiping and talking bad about people. Couldn't find out they do a lot of the same thing in churches. Like if you ain't perfect enough, they got something to mock and laugh at you about.
So interesting that you mentioned how they magnify even your smallest mistakes, you would say?
Yes. Yep.
So they try to remove the very human elements of life, you would say, in a way, because it seems like, from what I'm understanding with this CIA MK Ultra, so to speak, symbolically, it's meant to uniform everybody into one viewpoint that's somewhat robotic or obedient
Yep.
to, you know, corporations, banks, and the churches, the fake church systems, the
Yep.
fake Illuminati, so to speak, symbolically, those type of systems that are, you know, under Masonic control or the control of these different cults that tie back to IDMR, you would say?
Well, I'll say this. I did jot down a few notes, handwritten, and I jotted down that in the book, The Conspirators Hierarchy, The Committee of 300 by John Coleman, I remember reading that all cults are connected with British intelligence, MI5, all cults around the world. No matter what cult, I heard that they're all connected with the British intelligence, MI5.
Right. That's interesting, because if that were true, that would mean that the, you know, perhaps like you know, there's a book written by the author Karen Quigley, Anglo-American Establishment. And if you look at how, you know, optically wise, the British Empire kind of went underground in significance, and people today just see the UK as an island off the coast of Europe, pretty much. But in fact, it all ties back to media, banking, secret societies, such
Excuse
that
me.
tie back to MI5, you said. So
Yeah.
it's just something to think about, because, you know, as far as, you know, mind control is concerned, it seemed that the British Empire could use um you know, pretty much like just mind control full-time MK Ultra post whatever it was, uh you know, 40s, 50s, 60s era, moving into that. So symbolically, you know, it seems they went into overgear as far as MK Ultra and things of this. So yeah, I would just say sometimes empires become more covert, like JFK said, you know, about covert stuff symbolically. So
Yeah.
in any case, yeah, they do try to silence people that are just even willing to talk about these subjects. So I mean,
Right.
you know, it's incredibly brave to do that. Don't And so you've been doing it for years, and
Yeah.
it's I mean, it's exhausting and it's very courageous. So,
Thank you.
I mean, but it seems like for whatever reason, people,
Excuse me.
um, you know, for whatever reason, people are so easily persuaded by, you know, just all types of lies and smears and just
Yeah.
anything. But that doesn't make any sense. And it's just fake news, pretty much. So,
Yeah.
for you to endure this for this long, it's quite a long time, really, to be putting up
Yeah.
with this type of treatment. So,
Yeah. Ooh, they trying to force fart. They hit me with weapons now. Excuse me. I'm trying to make my face itch, and now they're force farting me. I apologize.
it's no issues if you have any, if you no issues at all, like coughing or any other issues. I mean, there are things that are outside of our control. So,
Yeah.
you know, especially with, you know, what they did do to a lot of targets, they end up having prolonged health issues. And
Yeah.
it is just a reality of the, you know, society and what's going on in general. But
Yeah.
um from your experience, how would you say IDMR or similar cults use narrative control or symbolism to keep members in line? Uh, you know, visions, divine patterns as higher truth. How do you believe that these
Hmm.
cult members communicate with each other symbolically?
Well, the cult leader. claimed to have a divine vision and revelation in the year 1931. And I don't remember what year it was when they came up with these charts, but I thought it was stuff related to the Bible, but come to find out it was Bible stuff plus they added New Age and Freemason stuff, you know. And they love to focus on like their fake tabernacle pattern. This thing that they call the tabernacle pattern, where they say everything is three yet one, and they would say something like they would be arrogant and pompous and say that everything is three yet one, and that if they could find anything in this world that's not three yet one, then we'll close down this school and follow you. And they made it like as if nobody has ever proved to them or nobody has ever beat them to this idea that of something out of this fake tabernacle pattern would talk about that everything being three yet one. So basically they would make an example and say something like an apple has the seeds, the skin, and the stem, and that's three yet one. But come to find out, no, they got the outer skin, the inner skin, the core, the leaves, the water, the nutrients, and yeah. So let's shut the cult down because I just proved y'all wrong. So they try to talk about with the human body that the head cavity, chest cavity, and abdominal cavity is three yet one, because for that, with those you can't live without, but you can live without your limbs. Or they would try to make it like as if the name Yahweh is stamped in your face. And I guess it does tie back to New Age, Luciferianism, and esotericism and stuff. The stalkers, they're trying to break into my PayPal account right now. That's rapper Jay trying to do that. See, they're trying to cause distraction. Sorry about that. I'm documenting what they're doing. I'm trying not to look at the comments right now.
Yeah, I'm not paying attention to the comments, but whatever they post in the comments, they're pretty much making our case for us at this point, because they're continuing to, escalate the smear campaigns, escalate the threats, and just put this into. I will just analyze this stuff logically and then break it down and show that yes, they are running a pretty much stalking operation in the comments. That's what they do.
Yes.
They post harassing comments, and then they even try to get real people to join in, like monkey see, monkey do symbolically. They want people to be like, oh yeah, oh he did this. It's like a groupthink mentality where people are just they're like, oh, if 9 people are standing up right now and I'm the only one left in the room not standing up for no reason, I better stand up because I'll be standing out.
Yeah.
So their ideology seems like it's somewhat surrounds the idea of just conformity of some type to MK Ultra.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what they try to do to me, trying to force me to be their version of normal. And the fake foster mom was always lecturing me about what's not normal.
Yes, that seems like a big talking point among, that they reinforce this talking point in all their media and school systems about being normal and conforming to this idea of selling out to the, military industrial complex or the corporations and all that type of stuff symbolically, that ended up, lying about all kinds of things related to wars, symbolically, like, post
Excuse me.
you
Yeah.
know, post early 2000s stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so you've mentioned defecting many years ago. How did the cult respond? Was there harassment, shaming, or attempts to pull you back?
Mainly, my twin sister was doing the attacks and harassment and shaming, and she narcissistically lectured me on the phone for 4 hours and went off on me and attacked me, and she tried to force me to go back to the cult in 2011. I went that one time. The cult, and it was on Glendale Boulevard, I think, somewhere in Riverside Drive in Los Angeles, California. That one time in 2011, and they try to make up this thing where you have to have a dress code now and business dressy attire and stuff like that. Like, well, if I'm homeless, then I don't have the money to have like business attire or whatever. And I used to try to ask my twin sister. I said, "What if they used to bully and pick on her and didn't like her? Like growing up, my twin sister got the same abuse and the same treatment that I did, and people didn't like her, and they didn't like any of us. But now they find favor with her because of her selling out, you know. So, excuse me. There are people who will sell out just to feel accepted by society. You
Yes,
know,
that's the problem with the fallen state of humankind right now, is that people think they can half-ass and white lie their way effectively to a world of what they want it to be, but they're really just selling out, on the highest level. So yeah, they will not. I mean, in my opinion, of course, they're going to be held accountable for lying and continuing to create this type of Moloch's machine that we're living in right now, like the fake, pretty much all the fake news going around and all the smear campaigns, the stalking, and I mean, it's gotten really out of hand.
yeah,
And see,
yep.
now I'm hearing a strange echo on my end. So,
Uh
uh,
oh,
does it sound clear to you?
it sounds clear to me.
Okay. So, um, so when you defected years ago, that you would say the harassment though was pretty bad afterwards, or the pretty much shaming or attempts to pull you back, you would say that was pretty severe.
Well, my twin sister was the only one that shamed me and tried to pull me back into the cult. But she was the only one who did that. But I'm surprised that in 2015, and I visited the foster mom, and I told her that I left the IDMR cult and started believing in Jesus. I'm surprised the foster mom accepted that. I'm surprised she wasn't mad at me or whatever. And but around that time, I knew about the Illuminati, the New World Order, or whatever, but I knew very little about gang stalking and didn't know that I was targeted at the time. But thankfully, I don't have IDMR cult members gang stalking me, but other people, they're gang stalking me. Even NOPD was gang stalking me last night, you know. So I did take some notes down. Excuse me. So what I wrote down was the former foster mom had us in the fake IDMR cult. She was the one who got me put on the gang stalking list via the fake Masonic Craft family and the fake Gretna police. My life has been sabotaged since ninth grade. The former foster mom ran her own household like she was her own cult leader. Adrian Felder. That's her name. She used to have people to stalk and spy on my every move and then report back to her, resulting in me always being punished. She still controlled and abused me even as an adult and still never cared about me. She used to smear campaign me, making everyone hate me. People say she's a New Orleans voodoo witch. She had all these weird statues in her house. Many people say the foster mom was my main handler. Some people say that even though we're not in contact, that she's still my handler and knows everything I'm doing. My twin sister and certain other biological family members picked up where the foster mom left off at with the abuse, and um, the people, certain people feel like my biological family members, no matter the younger ages or the lower generations, that they're bossy, abusive, and controlling and narcissistic because the entire family is supposedly my handlers. I talked to a lady online. I'm withholding her identity for her protection. This is what she told me. The lady, she's never was part of the fake IDMR cult, but excuse me, her daughter married a man who was part of the fake IDMR cult, and the daughter joined the cult, and the daughter's husband was abusive, controlling, and nearly killed her and put her in a coma. The mom said the cult caused the daughter to have physical and mental health issues and caused her to gain over 150 pounds and caused her to have like depression issues and anxiety disorders and certain other issues, personality changes, and few other things. Um, the woman said that the cult members would throw trash in her yard and trashed up her house, and that they were basically stalking and harassing her. She said that her daughter turned abusive and disrespectful, and that the daughter's husband and the daughter's husband's family and that they're far gone. The mom said the daughter is an abused monster with no self-esteem. The mom wanted to collaborate with me to write a book. The mom said that the fake IDMR cult gets grants, but yet, even when I was in the cult, they were bullying people for donations. Um, the fake IDMR cult, they made it like they didn't believe in church tithing, but they always hound people down and bully people about donations. Talking about it was for to keep the building up. And the mom said that IDMR cult members, yeah, did property damage and trashed up her home. And she was always, said that she was in constant fight against the fake IDMR cult devils, pretty much. And the fake IDMR cult leader, Henry C. Kinley, he was a third degree Scottish Rite Freemason, and they said that he was always that he abandoned his wife to go tour around the world with a bunch of hookers. Now I think some people say he was an abusive and an alcoholic as well, and that he saw himself as God. And then the fake Robert Harris was an actual medical doctor, and that Robert Harris was to be seen as God as well. So a man that couldn't save himself and couldn't save his own kids because the fake Henry Clifford Kinley, he blood sacrificed, I think, 2 of his sons. He let them die, but trying to pretend like he was healing and saving everybody else. He only had a 6th grade education, but he came up with weird words like philoprogenitiveness. Hello?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. I was just
All
checking
right.
you can still hear me. What parallels do you see between IDMR and other stalking cults like the Red Triangle Network? For example, their, love bomb phase, so to speak, then their flip and performative victimhood act they play, their Darvo script, where they reverse victim and offender and project what they're doing onto the target. So, would you say what parallels do you see between IDMR doing things of that nature or Red Triangle Network? Would you say there's a link there or not?
Well, I know that they do stuff like steal other people's ideas and make it their own, and they they like to the fake red triangle call. I say they all copycats too. They like to copycat and steal, and then lie and say that you stole, or that you're the copycat. And it's like, wow, like I guess for me reading tonight helped me excuse me, to better understand why it's so difficult to communicate with my own twin sister or deal with her, and it seems like any cult a person joins, it's like once you join that cult, it's how is it an instant personality change? Like it got to be spiritual because once you join a cult, like you're not the same, you're a different person, and it's like you're not even the same anymore. And I heard that cults rewire the brain and any other kind of abuse that they rewire the brain. So if you don't agree with what the cult thinks, whether the fake IDMR cult or whatever, fake red triangle cult, they'll view you as crazy. You know, excuse me. They'll say that you're crazy and need mental help and stuff like that. So basically, in the fake IDMR cult, the main abuse that I was receiving was from the foster mom herself. And like she would smear me and my twin sister and some of the other, people in the kids in the foster care to other cult members and having our peers in the cult to bully us or laugh at us, treat us mean, exclude us, single us out, and don't want anything to do with us or whatever. And we would like beg for acceptance. And, even, I mean, as I said, the foster mom still trying to control me and treat me like a baby even after I became of age, you know. Excuse me. I did not know that when we were in foster care, they said that the foster mom, abusing us with the chores and giving us only $20 a month, that what she did to us was labor trafficking. And I heard that there's a link between cults and human trafficking and not always sexual. But any other kind of, it could be sexual or sometimes any other human trafficking. Like the foster mom used us as cleanup slaves. And she had a field day with running her own household like a cult. Like she was her own cult leader with forcing us as cleanup slaves and kept us in fear. And when she ran her household like a cult, she would have us to spy on each other and run back and tell her, because we were afraid that if we saw one person do this and we didn't tell, we were afraid of we would get in trouble too. So that's what kept me and my twin sister and the foster sister Joni hating each other and not getting along. The foster mom pitted us against each other and wanted us to backstab and betray each other. And now I realize about after researching narcissistic abuse, golden child, scapegoat, like I mean, I can't believe all this is interconnected. Like how narcissistic abuse and cults are all connected.
Well, it seemed like these cults perhaps are conditioning people to be very harsh with each other and very
Yeah.
rigid and demanding and not accepting of creativity and being unique or anything like this. They want everybody to be under MK Ultra and just,
Yeah.
um, you know, sell out to this fake system.
Yeah. And they try to coerce, like back to with the normal thing, they try to coerce conformity. And the Bible says in Romans about be not conformed to this world, Romans 12:2, right? But be transformed with the renewing of your mind and do that good and acceptable will of God. I mean, I don't know if I quoted it correctly, but yeah, I think, yeah, so if the Bible saying be not conformed to this world, and then dealing with people even not part of the fake IDMR cult, if people are saying that, oh, people target you because you're this and you're that, and they say, oh, well, you have to learn how to conform to the norms of society. And they try to push that normal stuff, and then they try to coerce fake mental health so that you can so that you can't fight back, because I was ignorant and taking those psych medications and a zombie, and then I became more of a threat after I got off all the psych medications and started researching the truth, and they really felt like they hated me. But I broke away from the fake IDMR cult, and thankfully they don't stalk and harass me. But the New Orleans police and Gretna police, Jefferson Parish sheriffs, and even neighboring cities and states, the police, be gang stalking with one headlight or whatever, arm out the window. It was heavy in Pensacola, Florida. Even when I went to Cincinnati, Ohio, like my first day there was a black female police officer. I think she was following me with one headlight back in 2000.